You're about to talk about my favorite show of all time.
That was one of the questions I had, so now you ruined that.
Oh, no. Well, you can cut this out if you want to ask me that later.
It's okay.
All right, and welcome to a very special episode of First Reaction or Fan Reaction, our Patreon exclusive show. My name is Kayla Clothier, and I'm your host, and with me is my co-host,
Dara Whitman.
Hey, Dara, how's it going?
Good.
Wonderful.
We're back to Patreon stuff. That's not the live streams.
Yeah, I think we might be posting this episode publicly to hopefully get some people.
This one will probably be public. I think with most of our Patreon exclusive shows, the first episode is probably public just for.
So you can be like, do you like this? And I hope that you do, because I am so flippin' excited. For our last First Reaction or Fan Reaction show, we were doing another fan reaction of WandaVision, which was a really good time. And now we are taking a step back into the past to review one of my favorite shows of all time, if you couldn't tell by my poster over my shoulder here. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Woohoo!
So if you're
or the fact that you quoted this an entire first episode.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and I was holding back too. But yes, so if you're a longtime viewer of Witty Close and First Reaction, Fan Reaction, one of the first shows we ever did was Legend of Korra, because I had seen it before, obviously, because I'm a huge Avatar fan, and Dara had not.
But I'd seen the first I think they saw the first 2 episodes that I realized, and then I knew how the show ended, and that was about it.
Right. So that was a really fun experience. You can always go back and listen to those reviews. We still have some of those reactions up, not all of them, because copyright is fun and I hate it. But anyway, I digress. But this is a fan reaction for us because, like I said, Avatar is my favorite show of all time. And Dara, tell me about when you first saw Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Well, funny, because I was thinking, because this was kind of one of the shows that inspired this show, our main show, because I was watching it in college.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just remember, watching it, at night, binging through several episodes at night. And then, coming into, one of our classes that we had together the next day and just, getting my feelings out to you.
Yeah.
I remember, almost crying, the one time when, we'll say this for these kind of, this show, we're gonna spoil other stuff that happens.
There's gonna be some spoilers here because it's really hard not to, especially, I think, with the nature of this being a fan reaction specific show, is that now we get to do a really cool reflective and look at how things are and how they set things up. So yeah, and plus also the show has been out for almost 20 years now, so I think we were free to talk about it.
Has it been 20 years?
Not quite. I think 2023 will be 18 or 19, because I have to remember if this episode premiered in 2004 or 2005. I'm guessing February 2005, if I have this right. Do I have it right? Or was it the end?
We're old.
Or was it the end of 2004? Oh my god, February 21st, 2005. Look at me go. So it'll be 18 years in really just a month from when we were recording this. So, wow. Yeah. Throwback.
You feel old?
I do feel old because I actually watched this episode when it first premiered. I was stoked for this show from the beginning, and I'd love to talk about why as we kind of get into the review of the show. But I
think I watched the premiere because I was a child, and I'm ooh, animated thing, and Nickelodeon. I still watch it, but then I watched it, and it wasn't I had a very different taste in stuff when I was 11 or 12 versus now.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really get into it.
Right.
And then when I watched it in college, I think I remember the reaction thing for me was coming in. So I remember I came into one class one day and I was kind of upset, and you were what's wrong? And I'm somebody stole Appa. And you're
I was oh, that makes sense. That is a natural reaction to have to that. So yeah, but it's
and then I was thinking I don't think I've actually watched this since then. I don't think I've watched it since college.
Really?
The show.
Oh
my god. Funny because I really liked watch I think Avatar: The Last Airbender is probably one of the few animated shows that I own on DVD. Because I bought it right after, and I'm I don't think I watched it since then.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I've seen the show several times through. Again, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. Yep. So I would always watch the premieres, watch the reruns, and there was 1 or 2 times I watched it outside of that. I forget who I was. No, I think I watched it one time all the way through with one of my friends from college. And then I know my dad and I had watched it all the way through because we were just interested in doing that. So I've seen it probably at least 5 times all the way through at this point.
So that's why you're in charge of this
yes,
chapter.
Because I am something of an Avatar connoisseur. But I am excited to get started with this. Should we jump into it?
Yeah,
after that really...
We just rewatched the pilot.
We did. We just rewatched the pilot. So we starting off with The Boy in the Iceberg, Part 1, which is the first episode, of course, of Avatar: Last Airbender. And like I said, it premiered February 21st, 2005, if you want to feel old because you watched it live, like I did. Very vivid memories of that. But anyway, so let's just jump into a synopsis, I guess. I'll try to keep this short because most of us have seen this before, so we kind of know how this is going.
Water.
Earth. I just said that so I could help for syncing because it's going to be weird when we sync this.
Air. My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days, a time of peace, when the Avatar kept balance between the water tribes, Earth Kingdom, Fire
I forgot about the
Nation,
extended
and
intro in this episode. How
That makes
exciting.
sense, though, in this one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wait, no, but that intro was incredibly new to me, and I've never heard any of that before.
So, well, speaking of the intro, so it's an extended form of the intro that we all know and love. Of course, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, which has become kind of something of a meme at this point. It is a meme.
Like if you don't know Avatar: Last Airbender, you at least know.
Yeah.
Then everything changed when you could say that with like anything.
Right. So at least this, they actually like open up a little more exposition to really tell us what's going on in this world, because theoretically, if we're watching this for the first time, we don't know anything about this world.
Only the Avatar mastered.
You know what I was wondering?
Elements.
Yeah. What?
Only he
How does it
stopped
take like
the
only
ruthless
80
fire
years for like the technology
When the
expansion
world needed
between
it most,
like shows?
vanished.
I think it's supposed to like. There's very specific time
100
periods.
years
It's
have passed, and
mirroring.
the Fire Nation is near
But it's also like a little bit of fantasy thrown in there.
2 years ago, my father and the
I guess
men of my
thinking
tribe
like the
journeyed to
technology,
Earth Kingdom
like
to
it should have
help
taken
fight
longer
against the
than
Fire
80.
Nation, leaving
Yeah.
me and my brother
Not
to look after
necessarily.
our tribe. Some people believe that the Avatar was never reborn into the air nomads and that the cycle is broken. But I haven't lost hope. I still believe that somehow the Avatar will return to save the world.
So, tells us a little bit more about the Four Nations, what they're all about, who the Avatar is, master of all four elements, keeper of the peace, blah, 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 blah. But then there's these fire guys, and they suck, and they attack things, and it's not great. And so now we're gonna follow...
And the Avatar's gone. We don't know where he is.
Avatar just, like, peaced out. I don't know. Hopefully that guy didn't die or anything. Anyway.
Well, if he dies, then he would have been reincarnated, right?
Sure, but usually the Avatar that they show in the, the actual picture of like when the Avatar disappeared, and you're like that guy.
Right,
definitely
but if I remember
is not
Legend
living.
of Korra, like it'll be reincarnated unless like a thing happens.
Unless a thing happens, correct? And
like that thing, I think it was a thing in season 2 that I don't remember because I kind of blocked out season 2 of Legend of Korra.
Okay, the actual concept of how the Avatar cycle can die is introduced in season 2, episode 1 of this show. Not that I would know, not that I've seen this show before. So, anyway, so we're going to open this show with, of course, our narrator is the character of Katara, who lives in the Southern Water Tribe with her brother, Sokka.
Like, I want water tribe powers, but I don't want to live up here.
That's fair.
It's really cold.
You could live in the swamp. Not that spoilers for season 2.
No, I don't like swamp either.
Hey, now I'm from Florida.
It's not getting away from me this time. Watch and learn, Katara. This is how you catch a fish.
Sokka, I miss him. It's been a while.
I know, right?
Stupid Legend of Korra we don't know
Really,
anything
really
about
just
him.
like, right. Really was not the Sokka show in Legend of Korra. Voiced by Mae Whitman and Jack DeSena, respectively. And I only point that out because they've done a thing or two, at least at the time. So I want to think around this time, I think Mae Whitman was playing Michael Cera's girlfriend in Arrested Development. If you remember that character.
No, well, she didn't come into like, because I just finished Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Wasn't she like in like season 2 or 3, maybe?
I think she was in there pretty early, only because I haven't seen many episodes, and she was in some of the episodes that I watch. But that's not obviously what she's most famous for. Mae Whitman has done a lot of things. She was in
probably like I think like adult
live action.
I feel like adult ones like Parenthood is like
yes, Parenthood. The Duff was one. She's done a lot of voice work. I think she's currently the voice of Amity Blight in The Owl House, which is a show that I really enjoy.
And then she was on that show. Oh, I forgot the name of the show. I think it was like Good Trouble with Christina Hendricks and.
Yes, I also forgot she was in that. In my mind, she's always gonna be Katara. So.
That's fine.
I mean, again,
She also
very
being a
accomplished
wallflower
actress.
for like a hot minute.
Okay. But very accomplished actress. And Jack DeSena, who at this point was famous to Nickelodeon kids for being on the cast of all that.
Yeah,
and just being like a very like Jim Carrey-esque kind of actor.
He's funny.
Listen, I will always be a fan of Randy Quench, volunteer fireman.
Who are you? I'm Randy Quench, volunteer fireman.
Why are you here? Because this chapel is on fire. Now stand back. Here comes me.
That things that live in your head rent free, as they so say. The whole skit of Randy Quench, volunteer fireman.
I just remember. I think you played like a nerd. It sounded like Jerry Lewis. You're like, oh, Raven, like
greetings. Where was we? I was explaining to the people at home that to make spaghetti, you begin by preparing the noodles. These are the noodles.
That was kind of a thing that he did, yeah. But
what has he done since though? I feel like
the only thing I know Jack DeSena does currently is he's one of the main characters, voices one of the main characters in the Dragon Prince on Netflix. So he does other things as well, but he does a lot of voice work.
Okay,
at least that's all I remember him from. I think he does maybe live action stuff. I don't know. I should know. Anyway, so we got these two siblings, and they are just like bebopping along in the South Pole, as you do. And so we get kind of introduction. So Sokka is the older brother who is like just like a typical, he's not quite a meathead, but like he's kind of pessimistic and down, and T is like a very pessimistic kind of guy.
He's a 15-year-old.
He is a 15-year-old. He is what a 15-year-old.
I can already smell it cooking.
But Sokka, I caught one.
I really love the early days of Sokka's character, where his whole deal is just like male chauvinist.
He grows though.
He does. Wonderful character arc.
It's water bending, and it's
also the male chauvinistic, or the I'm the big brother and you're my little sister chauvinistic.
I'm just saying that if I had weird powers, I'd keep my weirdness to myself.
Mostly just, I think, just
me weird?
played it straight with the chauvinism.
Muscles at myself.
This is where he kind of starts developing the personality. I always think of it's really funny to compare the first episodes with the Ember Island players of the third season, just because like there's these things people like gravitated towards the character that like, you know, became like their gags or whatever, and Sokka being like the sarcastic guy who doesn't like bending and eats meat. It's kind of his deal. And then Katara is the waterbender, the only waterbender in the South Pole. And so she's just doing her own thing. But anyway, so they get kind of in a spat because Sokka is a sexist and Katara likes to call him out on his BS. Honestly, you go, girl.
Things up.
But it paid off.
Like 2 series worth, a bunch of other projects that either didn't happen or a bunch of whatever's going on in the universe now.
Whatever's going on in the universe.
Katara?
I even wash all the clothes. Have you ever smelled your dirty socks? Let me tell you, not pleasant.
Katara, settle down.
No, that's it. I'm done helping you. From now on your own.
Don't stand for that.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, you're right, it's interesting, like, watching, like, this episode versus, like, at the end when they, like, have matured greatly.
Yes, such great growth that happens during this show, but we have to actually wait till we get there. But in calling Sokka out on his BS, Katara gets so angry that she just waterbends without care and accidentally unearths just a giant iceberg.
You mean I did that?
Yep. Congratulations.
I don't get what's weird about that. They know that bending's a thing.
Yeah. What could it be? Touch. Iconic. With the glowy eyes, hell yeah.
It's like something weird, let's poke it.
Which in it holds a small boy which is like
and
a normal
bison.
thing, which is just a normal thing to find in an iceberg, I guess. I don't think so, actually. Oh, yeah, and also just like a giant bison is also in there. But anyway, of course, Katara, being very much who she is like, there's a person there, we should save him, and then decides to whack the hell out of it, which, I mean, I guess. Exactly.
We have to help.
Katara, get back here! We don't know what that thing is!
It's a bison. Get him out.
Really raises the question, though. If Sokka wasn't sexist, then they would have never found Aang. Just makes you think.
Sexism for the win?
Sometimes sexism works. And unearths.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, and unearths a small boy who does not look like he's from around here. He has arrows on his head and all of his limbs, and wears some weird clothing. He's also bald, which is strange for a small child. And upon waking him up, of course, he sees a beautiful young lady.
Also, how come it's one person can't if you study different bending, can't you master all of them and be your own avatar? I was thinking about that. Or is it genetics?
There's very much a genetic portion. It's genetic and spiritual in a weird way, but not.
Okay.
Yeah, they raises some interesting questions. He's just a little boy.
I need to ask you something.
I don't know if he's a little boy considering what the end results are for certain characters in romantic ways.
Let's not think about that part. And instead of asking, who are you? Where am I? What am I doing here? He asks, will you go penguin sledding with me? Which honestly, shoot your shot, kid. Let him cook, as the kids say. I think that's what the saying is now.
What?
Let him cook. It's that's usually when somebody's trying to slide into somebody's replies on Twitter, and people are trying to you don't want to shut him down. They'll be like, let him cook. Let him go for it. Anyway, I'm cool and hip with the kids. I think that's really all that matters. Anyway, so and I'm doing really good. I'm not looking at synopsis here. That's how you know how long it's been since I watched this show. Cute.
The paranoid one is my brother, Sokka. You never told us your name.
Gesundheit.
I'm Aang.
You just sneezed and flew 10 feet in the air.
Really? It felt higher than that. You're an airbender. Sure am.
Giant light beams, flying bison, airbenders. I think I got midnight sun madness.
And so anyway, so upon their exchange, they do discover that this small child is an airbender, which is kind of weird because there hasn't been one seen for 100 years, but it's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Is it?
It's fine. He doesn't seem too stressed about the whole thing. He doesn't think it's weird, and he's just gonna go with the flow. So
Because he doesn't have the knowledge of the trauma yet.
yes, this is a beautiful, just innocent boy. It is very funny. I said this during the reaction part, but it is very funny to watch this as an adult now, because as a kid you're just look at these cool kids. I would like to hang out in my friend group. And older you're oh, this is a baby and I need to adopt him. And so Aang becomes I don't think I was Aang as a character when I was young. I was yeah, he's the main character, but now I'm precious baby boy.
Well, he doesn't know anything yet about war or genocide or any of that nonsense.
Yeah. So
it's funny. This is a kid's show, but there's a genocide.
It gets serious. Oh yeah, it gets. I mean, there's genocide in real life, so you can't escape it forever, kids. Yikes. Anyway, so they head back.
I will find a stuffed animal version of Appa one day.
Yes.
And I will. And that will be our mascot.
Wonderful.
Wow. That was truly amazing.
Papa's just tired. A little rest and he'll be soaring through the sky.
He's been sleeping for 100 years. How's he still tired?
Why are you smiling at me like that?
Oh, I was smiling.
Same Sokka. To the Southern Water Tribe, it's not like a huge place.
On the bison.
Yeah, on the bison, who doesn't fly. He's a little tired.
His name's Appa.
His name is Appa. God, I love Appa. Appa is really
Who
just one of the
doesn't?
best characters, right? Like, you can't not love Appa as a character. And I think also as we are heading back, we get introduced to our villain, or at least who's set up to be the villain, which is, get it, it's the fire guys. They're bad. They have, like, pointy shoulder spikes.
Uncle, do you realize what this means?
I won't get to finish my game.
It means my
That's fair.
search. It's about to come to an end. That light came from an incredibly powerful source. It has to be him.
Oh, it's just the celestial light. We've been down this road before, Prince
Zuko.
Zuko. I don't want you to get too excited over nothing. Please sit. Why don't you enjoy a cup of calming jasmine tea?
I don't need any calming tea. I need to capture the
might need-
Avatar. Helmsman,
You might.
get a course for the light.
These are great character introductions. And
I was about to say, like,
weird
I was about to say, like,
ponytails.
oh, like, he's like, I was about to say, well, technically he's the villain in the first season. And I'm like, well, actually, no, he's not, if you think.
He
like,
kind of is, though. No, he's
but he
set
isn't.
up to very much be the villain. He doesn't start, like, going anywhere else till season 2. But very much season 1, Zuko, very much a villain character. So yes, we are introduced to Ponytail Todoroki, Zuko, which Dare does not understand the reference here, which is very much a play on Icy Hot Zuko. Anyway, can you tell I was catching up on Boku no Hero Academia before we started recording this today? But yes, we are introduced to our villain, Prince Zuko, who is a very angsty, very edgy 16-year-old with a ponytail, and his uncle, Iroh, who is wise and likes tea. I wonder if that will stick.
Zuko just needs the love of a good woman to fix him.
That's obviously, that'll do it.
It's 2005. That's what we thought.
That's what the shippers thought. You know who you are. Anyway, so yes, we head back to the Southern Water Tribe. It's a really small kind of thing because, as we found out during the intro, like, the men have gone to fight in the war. And some bad things have happened because the Fire Nation attacked many years ago. Hopefully that didn't cause anything bad.
Not like a baby genocide.
Not like a genocide. It's just a coincidence that there's only one waterbender in the whole water tribe, right? Let's not think about it. So
Yet.
I miss when Avatar was just arrow on forehead, not blue people.
Yeah.
This is the entire village.
But I think for cool people, it's just a kid with blue arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Or Korra.
Why are they all looking at me like that? Did Appa sneeze on me?
Well, no one has seen an airbender in 100 years. We thought they were extinct until my granddaughter and grandson found you.
Extinct?
Aang, this is my grandmother.
Call me Gran.
Love Gran.
Gran.
What is this, a weapon?
Yeah, so they bring Aang back, but it's met with some skepticism because he is a very strange boy that no one's seen an airbender in 100 years. So we get some fun little shenanigans with the town, and
You can't stab anything with this.
It's not for stabbing. It's for airbending.
He's a nomad.
Magic trick. Do it again.
They don't fight.
Not magic, airbending. It lets me control the air currents around my glider and fly.
You know, last time I checked, humans can't fly.
Check again.
Also, Sokka's so, like, pessimistic about this world, even though, like airbenders are, like, not airbenders, but, like, bending is an established, like, thing.
yeah. Although, I mean, if we think about it, we can talk about this more in the actual review, but, like, it's his actual life and world experience is very limited at this point.
My watchtower!
I will say, I'll take the moment to say that I just love how the show is so rich with world building, and I love it. Just like, not to be like for a kid's show, but I mean like in a way that I think a lot of shows weren't doing at the time, and I think there's been an evolution. I feel like Avatar really like had a really pivotal role in just like how we approach children's media and how we feel more comfortable to like the concepts that we can share with kids. Because a lot of shows before that were obviously doing like higher concept stuff that was like really important and serious, but like not in a like the high fantasy way that I think Avatar was doing. And that made it really fun in like a world building way. So I just like sucking up every little like bit and morsel of world building that's introduced to us in this first episode because it's so good.
Well, right, and it's kind of like what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a point to like this like show in general, that like and the world building, how like great it is that they were able to make like a sequel series and like maybe another sequel series. I don't know what's going on in the world.
Supposedly supposed to be coming in a few years. We'll
Which
see.
is like but like it's like they built this world like so well that like you can add all this stuff and make it like years later, and we're like, okay, that works.
Yeah, and we really just start off strong because like I really love just all the influences they get from, obviously Avatar is very anime inspired, so it has a lot of Eastern Asian influences, but also we get to pull in like Inuit, Native American influences with the water tribes and the stuff. And so much of it, like it feels, every detail feels very lovingly crafted in this show, and that makes me still love it this many years later, because you're watching it and you're like, okay, like when you look at it, you know, thought and care went into it, and that it's what makes it really fun to watch, because it is just a very richly built world. So anyway, so let's see. I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page here. So yeah, shenanigans. So while they're doing,
it kind of feels like what this first episode is. It's mainly shenanigans.
It gives us space to kind of breathe and like get to know everybody and get to know just like the world, because you know
before the trauma.
And then of course we get more from our villain, who just
Prince Zuko, you need some sleep. Even if you're right, and the Avatar is alive, you won't find him. Your father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all tried and failed.
Because their honor didn't hinge on the Avatar's capture. Mine does.
Should we have like an honor count?
100 years in hiding.
Oh my god, we should do an honor count.
So that was 1. I count it. Hold on. 1.
Again, is an angsty teen who, you know, is very impatient because he is searching for the Avatar, because he has to restore his honor, because he has stakes on the line that the people before him did not have. We don't know what those are right now. And is it valid? Probably. Anyway, well, so much to talk about with that character, but now is not the time. But at this point, he's just like a very impatient, angsty brat who wants to be a really good firebender, but he needs to master his basics first.
Power in firebending comes from the breath, not the muscles. The breath becomes energy in the body. The energy extends past your limbs and becomes fire. Get it right this time.
Enough. I've been drilling the sequence all day. Teach me the next set. I'm more than ready.
No, you're impatient. You have yet to master your basics. Drill it again!
The sages tell us that the Avatar is the last airbender.
Hey!
He must be over
Roll
100
credits?
years old by
Roll
now.
credits.
He's had a...
So, love it.
He's got a lot of anger.
He does. I
Got a
wonder
lot,
why.
like, and angst. And like, to be fair, it's we find out later it's valid.
Again, like, kid went through some stuff.
He did.
But anyway, and so like everyone is kind of doing their own things here.
Now, men, it's important that you show no fear when you face a firebender. In the Water Tribe, we fight to the last man standing. For without courage, how can we call ourselves men?
I gotta pee.
Gotta pee.
Listen, until your fathers return from the war,
Too many times.
on you to be the men of
Too
the
many
tribe.
times.
And that means no potty breaks.
But I really gotta go.
Okay, who else has to go?
Maybe go before you're gonna have the session with Sokka.
Have you seen Aang?
It's almost just like these children are taking the war seriously. Sokka is really trying to train up the men of the village, but of course all the men left, so now it's just like all like the really young boys who just really don't care.
Shouldn't maybe like if we're saying like only men can like protect them, which like I'm not saying is, I'm saying like in that it sounds like that's what they believe. Like, wouldn't they have left, like, a couple men?
They left Sokka. It's fine.
That's... like, an adult who knows how to fight, or, like, teach some of the women to fight or something.
It's fine.
Like, you're leaving your children there. Like, you want them to be protected.
They're in the South Pole. Nothing ever exciting happens in the South Pole.
Not the baby genocide?
Yeah, well, the baby's already been genocided, so it's fine. Anyway.
No, I don't mean the... You know what I mean.
I do.
Okay, good.
But anyway. So, and then meanwhile...
You think about it. But in the meantime, can you teach me to catch one of these penguins?
Okay, listen closely, my young pupil. Catching penguins is an ancient and sacred art. Observe.
They're lucky they're cute, or else if this was like live action, I'd be having a nightmare. Also, is this animal abuse?
Yeah, it is funny though, because like they don't have beaks. And in Katara, they go penguin sledding which is very exciting because the penguins. I also love the world building because the creatures are not as we have them. We say penguins, but they're not actually full penguins.
They're penguin otters.
They're penguin otters, which is fabulous.
They're not penguin bears.
Not penguin bears. Or even just penguins. They're penguin otters, and they're very cool looking creatures. But Katara expresses her desire to learn waterbending from a bender. Of course, Aang is an airbender, so he's like, I can't really help you out there, but like...
If you teach me waterbending...
You got a deal. Just one little problem. I'm an airbender, not a waterbender. Isn't there someone in your tribe who can teach you?
No. You're looking at the only waterbender in the whole South Pole.
This isn't right. A waterbender needs to master water. What about the North Pole? There's another water tribe up there, right? Maybe they have waterbenders who could teach you.
Maybe. But we haven't had contact with our sister tribe in a long time. It's not exactly turn right at the second glacier. It's on the other side of the world.
But you forget, I have a flying bison. Appa and I can
That's
personally
true.
fly you to
We could take you to the North Pole, and that would be swell. And she's like, that sounds cool. And then they do some shenanigans, have some fun. They get to be kids, which is nice. Hopefully they get more opportunities to do that in the future. Who knows? Trauma. But...
Whoa. What is that?
This is fine.
A Fire Navy ship.
I wonder if we'll see this in a flashback in season 3. You know, I've watched the show too many times.
Aang, stop! We're not allowed to go near it. The ship could be booby-trapped.
If you want to be a bender, you have to let go of fear.
The funniest thing here is that in the UK, benders is slang for gay.
Wow.
So. Anyway, then they uncover a old abandoned Fire Nation ship. They decide, hey, this is a great time to just like meander around an old abandoned ship. Nothing bad could happen. Except like it's kind of booby trapped, but before we uncover the booby trap.
This ship has haunted my tribe since Gran was a little girl. It was part of the Fire Nation's first.
How old is Gran?
Okay, back up. I have friends all over the world, even in the Fire Nation. I've never seen any war.
Aang, how long were
Sweetie,
you
they're
in
dead.
Iceberg?
I don't know, a few days maybe?
I think it was more like 100
years.
What? That's impossible. Do I look like a 112-year-old man to you?
Think about it. The war is a century old. You don't know about it because somehow you were in there that whole time. It's the only explanation.
Gasp.
100 years.
Aww.
Real bummer, buddy. Katara has to break the news to Aang that she's like, hey, buddy, I think you were in that iceberg for like 100 years.
Because, like, you don't know there's a war, and, like, you think there's other airbenders. You're like, why are people saying there's, like, I'm the last one?
Mm-hmm. So, so now we have to just break it to the small child that, like, hey, by the way, you were just comatose for 100 years. I hope that's fine. Don't think about how everyone that you know and have ever known is dead, like, mostly, like, 99%. And that's probably problematic, but, like, it's
also,
fine.
Like, I'm thinking because, it's kind of, like, because, like, wondering, like, how Aang is maturity-wise, because, like, technically he's 100 years old.
Yeah.
Or if not, frozen. How do we
He's
think
12
about whatever?
years old. He is chronologically 112, biologically and mentally 12 years old.
But, like, it's established, like, dream sequence that, like, he knows that he's the Avatar, and, like, that probably, like, I wonder if he has a trauma thing of, like, he now knows that there was a war, and he kind of, like, abandoned the world when he probably should have been helping protect it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that comes up a ton of times throughout this show. We do not let that any stone go unturned.
But
here.
then also, society-wise, we're putting all of our stakes into a child.
Yeah. This is fine.
Although it kind of makes me think, like, what would happen if, like, there wasn't a war and they could just, like, train him until he was an adult? Although, but then you know as a child, they're like, oh, I'm, like, this great being who needs to, like, take care of the world.
Well, that's why we'll uncover how the air nomads handled the Avatar thing. This gets addressed about halfway through the season. No. I mean, a little bit.
I actually don't. The truth of the matter is, like, I remember bits of this show, and I remember liking it, but there's, like, a chunk that I actually don't remember.
Yeah, no, we're probably gonna talk about. Yeah, we have a couple opportunities here, but anyway, so they're just like, hey kid, by the way, it's been 100 years, life's changed. He's like, well, unfortunate.
What's
booby trap?
About booby traps?
Booby traps.
Uh-oh.
It's fine.
Hold on tight.
What's the worst that could happen?
The last airbender.
That.
Quite agile for his old age.
Anyway, but then they trigger some booby traps, and that signals the Fire Nation and a very angry teenage boy with a very ugly scar. So
and a sign that we shouldn't ignore the trauma.
Should not ignore. Don't ignore the trauma. That's the theme for this episode.
Like, man, we like that's in like WandaVision. We just do shows where people are ignoring their trauma.
Yeah, it's fun.
But at least in WandaVision, it was with sitcoms.
Right, and with this show, just kids having fun. Most of the time. Yay. Anyway, so that's a synopsis of the episode. I probably went longer than I should have. I just really like this show a lot. That's what you gotta do sometimes. Anyway. So, Dara, what did you think rewatching this for the first time? How much did you remember? How much did you forget?
I keep forgetting how short this episode feels.
Yeah. Well, this aired as a two-parter.
Yeah. I guess it feels like not a lot, like, happens. But, like, it also feels like a lot happens. I don't know. You know what's funny? It made me think about this. I think before I watched the show, I ended up, like, watching a review of The Last Airbender movie, which I know doesn't exist, but whatever. I gotta... Mm-hmm. And I thought that this episode was longer when I first saw the show, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That movie messed my perspective of this show for a little bit, and then I watched the show, and I'm like, oh, it's better.
Yeah. But...
The movie doesn't exist?
What movie?
Exactly.
Exactly. So, yes, I mean, this originally aired as a two-parter, so I think it aired as Boy in the Iceberg Part 1 and 2. We'll see when we get into the next episode. It's named differently. Anyway, but it's such a great, again, what I really like about this episode, it's a really cool introduction into the world. We get some chance to kind of breathe with the new characters, kind of figure out who they are, and start to figure out what the motivations might be. I mean, the real action hasn't happened yet because a lot of this episode just set up for the next one to go down.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like it is more of like an establishment of these characters that like when we start to like travel around to like get more of like the story, we want to like follow these characters. Yeah,
exactly. So it sets things up really nicely, and it just makes me so much excited. Like I'm just so excited to watch it again because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So I'm just having a great time, and I can't wait to watch the next one. I should see if there's trivia, shouldn't I?
There must. I feel like this wiki is also like as good as.
Like, it's a fantastic wiki. Shout out to the wiki editors as we always do. All right. Anything like good trivia? Oh hell yeah!
I mean, I do find it funny that like you said who voice acting was for Guitar and Sokka. You don't mention the voices for like Zuko or Aang.
Oh, that's true. I started and then did not. Let's go back and do that. So the voice actor for Aang is Zachary Tyler Eisen. I don't think he's done much since Avatar because he was a child actor. So I hope he's doing well. I don't think he did a few things back in the day, but I don't.
He was like living his life.
I hope he loves his life. I haven't kept up with him much. And then, of course, the voice of Zuko is Dante Basco, who is, like, he was done a few things. He's definitely out there.
Like American Dragon Jake Long.
American Dragon Jake Long, yeah.
Also with May Whitman. May Whitman's in that, too.
Oh, yeah. That is true. She voiced Rose in that one.
That's where the shipping comes from.
Yeah. Dante Basco is just an overall cool guy. Very much owns the characters that he's played, and I respect that immensely. And the voice of Iroh is Mako, who is a has a very accomplished film career. Mm-hmm. So, and not that anything sad will come up about that at any time during the show. So, but yes, that's fleshing out the rest of our voice cast there. Thank you for reminding me. So as far as trivia goes, this is the only episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender to feature a different and extended opening sequence on both the television and DVD versions worldwide. The second...
So that makes sense for a pilot.
Right, because we have to take some extra time to build the world out. And yes. Though this is the first official episode of the series, the unaired pilot was created beforehand, but never aired on television. Have you ever watched the unaired pilot?
Is it on the DVD?
I think it's a bonus on one of the DVDs.
I don't think... Is it like... How different is it?
It's... The art style's a little different. It's definitely just like a different thing. One of the trivia things of that is that they... I'm not sure if it was on the pilot or if just this episode, but there was a point where they draw Aang's clothes slightly different, and there's like a fold in it that became really hard to draw, so then they had to change his design slightly to accommodate for it. Also, the original... in the pilot... The voice actor for Aang is actually Mitchell Musso, of Hannah Montana fame.
Yeah,
so,
what's he up to? Not much.
I don't know. He got in trouble, didn't he, a while back? I don't care.
I feel like several Disney Channel, specifically, unfortunately, like the male stars have gotten in trouble lately.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah, but the unaired pilot, it's cool. It's just a cool looking thing, and they actually use clips from the unaired pilot in a lot of the promotion for the show, which I remember. One of these days we should go back and rewatch that. So Sokka said he might have midnight sun madness. This is referring to a natural phenomenon that occurs in the summer months in places north of the Arctic Circle or south of the Antarctic Circle, when the sun remains visible at the local midnight. So I was thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute, why is the sun always up if this season ends at the winter solstice? And I was like, Caitlin, you moron. Because they're south of the equator, and they end the season north of the equator on the winter solstice. You
I thought
fool.
there was another phenomenon where like it's night for like a month straight.
Yeah.
Hence the movie 30 Days of Night.
Yes.
Where somebody said, well, that means that a vampire's going to attack.
Oh, I don't think there's any
Which is
vampires.
a good idea for a horror movie. Let's be honest here.
Fair. But specifically, though, there's more sun than darkness here because of weather, I guess. I don't know how planets work. This is one of only 2 episodes that shows to be continued before the ending credits. The other is The Boiling Rock Part 1. That is a fun fact. I love some fun facts. Which
season was The Boiling Rock in?
3. That was slightly past the midway point of season 3.
Like, what I remember about like the format of like this show is that there's like a midpoint where there's like a 2-parter epic thing.
Yep.
And then like near the end there's like, except for the 3rd season where it's like a 4-part epic.
Yeah, I think a lot of season 3 has a couple multi-part episodes because it just has Day of Black Sun 1, 2, Boiling Rock has a 1 and 2, and then the last, which is a 4-part episode.
Well, a lot happens.
A lot happens during that season. We'll get to it. Don't you worry. So, the creators of the show like to think that Aang and Appa were floating in a ball of energy instead of being frozen solid. Because then we don't have to think about the science of it all. Yeah.
But benders exist, so I wasn't thinking about the science.
Exactly. This episode and The Avatar Returns are the only episodes of Book 1 Water not to have aired on a Friday. Fascinating.
How did the show...
I forget. What day of the week was that? Was that I bet it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Was it a Monday? Hold on. I want to... Okay, take your bet. Yeah, there. We're going to do this right now. Take a bet
You know what I was thinking?
What day of the week this was?
Friday is like the dead, like you don't want to air a show on a Friday because it's like a bad time. But I'm thinking like kids shows probably different.
No,
like
kids shows that was prime time. Kids shows prime time TV was Fridays at 8. That was the prime time as like at least when we were kids. All right, Dara.
Like nowadays, like if a show airs on Friday, that means you're dead.
Yes, that's for adult shows, but for kids shows, it was Friday was like the spot, and so Avatar had the coveted Friday at 8 spot for a very, very long time. But I need you to tell me what day of the week that this aired on, because I am guessing, I'm putting my bet on Monday. If it was,
what was the date again that it aired?
February 21st, 2005.
I'm gonna go with Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Survey says. Look.
Monday. Yeah.
Monday. All right, awesome.
We didn't place a bet, so you don't win anything.
I am telling you guys, I remember where I was when this show premiered, and I'm not exaggerating.
That's like feels like that's something when like something dramatic happens. You're like, where were you when this happened?
Hey, listen, where were you when your favorite show of all time premiered? I know. Anyway, so finishing off the trivia, the initial title of this episode was "The Boy with Tattoos," and
I
Yeah, probably better we didn't call it that. A scene from this episode was ranked number 24 in the 100 Greatest Moments in Nicktoon History ranking. I don't know who compiled that list, but good for you, I guess. The description for the episode on Netflix originally referred to both Sokka and Katara as waterbenders, but this error was later corrected. Correct. Sokka sure as heck ain't a bender. That's like his whole deal.
Where did this rank though? Because I feel like there's other moments in Avatar Last Airbender that like should rank higher in that.
All right,
top 100 thing.
I mean, okay. I tried to click the link, but it was from like 15 years ago, so it is no longer on the internet.
That's okay.
That's okay. Anyway, so that was the first episode of Avatar: Last Airbender for first reaction or fan reaction. I am so stoked. I probably talked for so freaking long. I am so sorry.
I don't think this. Let me see. Like audio. Like 30 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah. But it's a good time. Oh no. But I think that we should call this episode here, and then we go. Now, if we are doing what I think we're doing, and we're showing this on our regular channel, hello.
This will be on the regular channel and in every other episode.
Yes.
So hi.
Hi.
So if you want to actually watch us, if you want to see us watch the rest of the show, Patreon.
So
that's gonna be at the $5 level. So that's where you get exclusive. That's where you get this spin-off show, and then our live streams is $5 level, and then we have other levels, but we're still trying to figure out what we're doing for them.
Yeah, we sort of know
what we're doing for the $10 level, but like we're trying to figure out format for that.
Yeah, we're working on it, but there's a lot of content coming. So thank you for joining us here. We hope you join us on Patreon. Obviously, we have a whole load of social media that you can find us on. We are Facebook Witty Close, Twitter @WittyClose. Please find us on Patreon. If you like this series and you would like to continue watching more of it, we would love to see you there. And if you don't feel like paying for Patreon, or maybe this is not the time yet, we have plenty of content up on our YouTube channel for free already that you can watch.
Like we're still watching Community.
We're doing Community right now. And if you want to get your Avatar fix, we also did Legend of Korra a few years back, so please go through the archives and let us know what
maybe we can find a way to get like those reactions like somewhere.
Yeah, we gotta
those are good.
Figure that out. Real
because some of them that was like when we started doing reactions, and I'm like, some of them are good.
They're fun. It was a really good time. So like
my reaction to that clip show from Legend of Korra is funny.
It is good. But anyway, it has been real. It's been fun. Follow us on all those social medias. You know where to find us. And until next time, for first reaction or fan reaction, I'm Caitlin Glothier.
I'm Dara Whitman.
Peace. All right.
What is that thing?
This is Appa.
And this is Katara, my flying sister.
And this is Katara, my flying sister.
How many times have you seen this show?
So many.
That's why you're running this one. I feel like it might be like throughout the whole series.
It's definitely gonna be less than we think it is.
I think it's just like a joke.
What you thinking about? I guess I was wondering, you're being an airbender and all, if you had any idea what happened to the Avatar. No. I didn't know him. I mean, I knew people that knew him, but I didn't. Sorry.
Who's that?
Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Good night.
Good night.
Sleep tight.